Alright, so for today's gallery discussion, we're going to be talking about the 4D model from week 3. And to start off, we're going to be talking about how it's implemented in Operation ASHA. So in that video, the biggest thing that they talked about was how they had to create their own organization to improve the quality of care that they were able to provide for the population that was afflicted by tuberculosis in India. And this was because there was a more specific need that they weren't able to have met by other organizations. So they created a more focused program to meet those needs. They were able to bring the aid directly to those people's homes, as one of the biggest problems that they discussed was those people not being able to afford care or to get to the hospital to get care provided for them. And they were able to do this by lowering costs, as they received a lot of their supplies and their workers for free, a lot of volunteer work. So they were able to allocate more of their donor funds for transportation and research and more work towards helping those people other than just medical supplies and care costs. So going off of that, we learned that they were able to use the 4D model in discussing or deciding what their affirmative topics were, so what their biggest goals were in a sense, which was to provide more affordable care to the people suffering from tuberculosis, as well as kind of bringing attention to the severity of the tuberculosis crisis, as it wasn't really a huge deal to the government in a sense. They didn't really acknowledge how big the issue was or how important it was to treat it. And then they were able to conceptualize what they could do in order to create a better system for dealing with the issue, which includes being more focused and allocating more funds to different things, moving funds around, bringing aid to the homes, that kind of stuff. And then they were able to implement it and see results. So for me, for my project, I decided to focus on my work life on the bar culture. So at my work, post-pandemic, we've been struggling a lot with really morale and repeat clientele and just sales in general at the bar as opposed to the entire restaurant. So for my affirmative topics, I chose to bring back kind of the life and the vigor to the post-pandemic bar culture that we have, to create a more effective communication system between the bartenders and the leadership team in order to see better results. To schedule more time or any time for small group classes for the servers and other employees to help them increase their bar knowledge and comfort levels. That would then boost beverage sales or bar sales. And then also to survey or just talk to our frequent guests that have stuck with us through the pandemic in order to assess kind of the things that they would like to see or other people in the community that they know would like to see, to create a bigger draw or more repeat clientele, as well as improve just our general atmosphere. So in order to kind of implement my plan for this kind of little experiment, I had to enlist the help of my fellow bartenders as well as obviously the leadership team to get permissions and such. And the steps that I planned out for this project was to start out with just sitting down with the other bartenders and kind of brainstorming up a list of things that, you know, kind of required a little bit more immediate attention, such as updated equipment or protocols and things like that we thought would help improve the bar in general, as well as a list of things that we thought would maybe boost the amount of guests, increase the amount of guests that were coming in to the bar, as well as the general atmosphere, which kind of included happy hour specials, advertisements with the local marketer, or maybe paying for more pay-per-view games and advertising those to draw people in, as well as implementing a few loyalty rewards programs. And then once we brainstormed those, we kind of refined down to what we thought was most realistic, and would bring those to the leadership team to kind of discuss what they thought would work and what would be appropriate, and kind of open the door for dialogue between the two parties there. So we would just express the ideas to them and kind of explain how we planned on executing them, if they were approved. And then if we were given the okay, we would begin gathering our materials and implementing, using them during changes and just the changes in general, which include kind of drinks, updating the drink selection, creating new drinks, updated menus, pocket pal study guides for the servers, as well as a couple of equipment things such as new shelving and signage for the bar. We would then decide if the experiment was successful after implementing these things, if we saw an increase in bar traffic and repeat guests, as well as an increase in sales. And then we would also see an overall rise in positive feedback from our repeat and regular guests, as well as fellow employees, I suppose. So once we got the green light from the leadership team on a couple of the things, we started implementing a few things, handing out cheat sheets that the servers can just slide right in their pockets or in their aprons, to help them feel more confident about the new drink menu. If they had any questions, they could refer back to those. We got new signage, created a fun summary floral kind of sign for all of the new specialty drinks that we had created to kind of draw attention to the bar area, as well as a loyalty program for our repeat guests. So every 5 visits, they would get a free appetizer or a free $15 meal or something like that. And once we started implementing those things, we saw a general rise in positive feedback from employees and guests. The servers were excited about an upcoming bar class that we had planned, and they definitely started to feel more confident with the new drinks, and were able to push those really well and boost their sales thanks to their pocket pal guides. And we also noticed just kind of a general improvement in morale as far as the bartenders went. We were generally more excited to be at work, and definitely felt like we had kind of brought the attention back to us and some focus back to us, and we were able to have some more fun. There were a few things, kind of hiccups, I guess, in a way, that surprised me during this. One was a little bit of reluctance and impatience from the leadership team when we presented our lists and our ideas, I suppose, to them, which was good because it definitely showed opportunities for communication improvement between the two parties. And they definitely was a little surprising that they completely vetoed happy hour, as we had it before, like pre-pandemic we had one. So it was kind of surprising that they were not excited to bring that back and didn't want to. But despite that, I really think that we were able to improve kind of the spirit and just general attitude towards the bar, at the bar, around the bar, all of that good stuff. From working through this progress, I learned about the 4D model, that it was super helpful and definitely effective in coordinating and implementing new ideas and processes in both a individual and group setting. It broke down the steps really well for everyone, I think in ways that we could all understand and contribute to. It was super easy to use. It wasn't really taxing to kind of break it down and write it all down, and really come up with some great plans and use it to implement them. And I think in the future, I could definitely implement it with the leadership team, and kind of creating better processes across the board for our communication, and just getting us all on the same page, and the processes and protocols that we all would like to implement, and changes that we would like to see throughout the restaurant, as well as I could use it in my academic progress, in my planning and scheduling and time management for myself, kind of creating a process for me to break down my schedule and my due dates and set aside specific times for me to work on specific things, and definitely improve the quality of my content that I'm creating for school, as well as um, the amount of time that I have to learn these things. But I definitely appreciate the 40 model, and I can definitely see how it would be useful moving forward, and I will definitely be planning on using it in the future and hopefully getting some great results.